Hello, Miss Yates.
Thank you. And this is the first part of my story from the collection, Madame Mafuti's Bad Glass Eye. Even with the beard, Lena was a doll. I could have spent hours just staring at her. Those cool blue eyes of hers made me weak at the knees, and I'd get the cold sweats just thinking about them. I felt like a kid around her. She knew it too, didn't she just? Mafuti takes the eye out as soon as she gets back to her caravan and puts it in the box. The old donna will be well into her gym by midnight, and you can grab it right out from under her big, ugly nose. Lena winked at me. She knew I'd do anything for her. She only had to show a bit of leg, bat those ridiculously long eyelashes at me, and I was putty in her perfectly manicured hands. I didn't care either. I should have. I should have known better. How many times have you heard that, old chestnut? But the fact was, I simply didn't care. The plan was simple. Madame Mafuti was an old fortune teller who had been duckering with the carnival for as long as anyone could remember. She kept herself to herself, except for Joey, the bipenis boy, who seemed to be her personal slave. There were rumours that he was either her son or her lover, but the woman had to be 80 if she was a day, and Joey was just taking puberty in his overabundant stride. Still, they wouldn't be the weirdest couple in the joint. Who'd have thought of me, Evelina Strange, strong woman, and lovely Lena, the bountiful bearded lady, would have had such a connection? Not me, I can tell you. But I digress. The eye was the prize. Seems ghoulish, I know, but the eye wasn't what it seemed, at least not according to Lena. Set within its depth, she said, was a diamond bigger than the top of my not inconsiderable thumb. She said that she'd seen it before the eye had been made, and that's the only part of her story that I ever doubted. Lena had only been with the carnival for a few weeks before we started up together. I'll admit, it didn't take long for me to become a smitten slave to her feminine wiles. But I'd worked this route for just over 2 years, and Mafuti was here a long time before me. Still, I guess I'm not the sharpest tool in the box because I never questioned her, especially not after the look in her eye turned nasty. Lena amping up for a Barney was a beautiful sight, but the thought of the aftermath was just too much for my nerves. While she's out for the night duckering those terrible fortunes of hers, honestly, have you ever heard such horse shit? I'll sneak into the van and slip a bit of belladonna into her gym. Not enough to kill her, just enough to knock her out. Lena looked gleeful. Everyone knew the old girl liked to bowl like a flower loves the sun, but somehow it didn't sit quite right messing with the sauce. Sensing my hesitation, Lena slipped into my lap and put her arms around my neck, wiggling that backside of hers against my needy thighs. And like the puppet I was, my qualms vanished. Sweetly, you do want us to be together, don't you? A soft little pout made my heart pound. I wanted it like I wanted nothing else in this world. I'll be honest, the plan made my guts quake, but not going through with it made me feel even worse. Lena would be disappointed in me. She'd cast me aside, and then what would I do? No, I was in this for the long haul, and I intended to prove it. The night was set for the following Saturday. Lena had been watching the old woman for days, knew her routine like clockwork. The only problem was that Saturdays were my busiest time. 5 performances in one day usually wiped me out, strong as I was. Don't worry, darling. I've got something that'll pep you right up. The white powder she gave me wasn't something I'd ever tried before. I'd had a few of those mushroom things the hurly-burly dwarf company liked to brew in a tea, but this was something new, and the first time I tried it, I knew I was going to be hooked. I was even stronger than usual on it. I loved it. It made my muscles twitch and my heart race. I had a spring in my step from the get-go, so when the clock struck midnight on the appointed Saturday night, jacked up on Lena's powder, smiling like a fool despite my strong body being battered by the day's spots, I slipped into the old woman's caravan, just like we'd planned. I knew something was wrong. No, I didn't. Even now, I'm still lying to myself. The truth is, I had no idea. I was a dupe, and of course, I didn't know it until it was too late. Everything went like clockwork. The caravan was creepy inside, but that wasn't anything I hadn't been expecting. Madame Mafuti liked dolls. She had hundreds of them in storage, Lena claimed, but kept her favourites on display where she could see them. Gave me the heebie-jeebies to think of a grown woman brushing their hair and choosing outfits for them. I'd never liked dolls, and their 2 big eyes seemed to follow me as I made my way further into the van. The old woman herself was out cold. The gin glass had rolled out of her hand onto the floor, but she was past noticing. Joe was asleep in his own van, and there was nothing to stop me getting to that box. It was sat in full view on the sideboard beside the old woman. Taking it was a piece of cake. A very obvious piece of cake. Thank you.